not talking what you're talking. We are having a different fight.
Final point, I'm going to get two experts to weigh in on this particular issue, which is foreign policy, right? Let's just get two experts, and I'm just going to get their views on this. What would be some of the pros? Improved relations with some of our neighbors, Bangladesh in particular, Nepal, others. India did that surgical strike, no real criticism globally around that. Increased clout in places like Afghanistan, deepened cooperation with ASEAN countries, Japan. In fact, in the initial stages, it was very much seeming that the Prime Minister's main thrust was in foreign policy, doing it very effectively. Flip side, on the con side, Pakistan. Well, Pakistan, of course, is a perennial headache and a perennial migraine, but that continues. But there have been flip-flops and India's not been able to really figure out what to do with it. Also, the question of China. More than Pakistan, are we being able to really figure out? We sometimes spend a lot of attention just going on Pakistan. Actually, China may well be the bigger issue and the bigger challenge. What are we doing on that? And are we really getting anywhere with other countries like the US? Of course, the US has got its own issues now with Trump, but what is happening there? So, foreign policy, I'm going to quickly get both K.C. Singh and G. Parthasarathy to come in.
Well, Vikram, foreign policy is basically a process of continuation and change. Continuation because continuity has been a theme of our foreign policy in every government I served with, from Jawaharlal Nehru to Atal Bihari Vajpayee. The change occurs because of the changed strategic circumstances in the world, and you have to adapt to that. And I think the most important change which has been taking place and is now picking up momentum is the rise of China as a hegemonic power which denies strategic space to any neighbor, and now is circulating its surplus capital for a Belt Road project which it is driving most countries broke.
Yeah.
But as far as India is concerned, what it has been doing is seeking naval bases in Myanmar, in Sri Lanka, in Pakistan and up to Aden, really encircling us in this place.
So if I can...
working in very close cooperation with Pakistan, and therefore, whether it is Masood Azhar or the nuclear suppliers group,
no, so China, Parthasarathy, I'm just going to get you to try and summarize that for us. If I could just ask you to summarize that for us. Overall, this government's performance on foreign policy.
Pakistan is going to take a long time, primarily because now the differences between the military and the civilian government are widened. It is difficult to know whom to talk to. Nawaz Sharif agrees with that, with Mr. Modi. DGMOs will meet, the army sidelines it.
Okay.
They meet in Lahore and the army subverts it with the attack on Pathankot.
Okay.
So this is a much more complex thing. What we've done at the World Court was very significant and I think a major achievement we can be proud of.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a challenge, and I don't think we should look at this challenge in political terms, but in terms of forging a national consensus.
K.C. Singh.
Let me spell out what are the core interests which Mr. Modi set forth to address. Those are essentially what were handed to him by Vajpayee and Manmohan Singh, who adjusted the foreign policy to the post 9/11 world, which consisted of a close partnership with US, short of an alliance, handling a rising China, containing Pakistan, counter-terrorism, reaching out to India's periphery, consolidating relations with Africa, taking it to a higher notch by having a summit with most of the leaders, and getting the technology constraints on India lifted, going to the G20. These are essentially things which were done earlier. But what Mr. Modi did was, he brought a more personalized style, more vigor into it, more focus on diaspora. But 3 years into his term, I think he's hit a wall. Because US, we find, is no longer completely opposed to China. It no longer sees India as a counterweight, the way the US was seeing over the last two presidencies. Pakistan is no longer isolated, as we would like to believe. And OBOR, as Ambassador Parthasarathy spelled out, is another very serious challenge. Because all our neighbors were there in Beijing just about 3 days ago, and India finds its periphery pressed.
Okay.
Therefore, India is, you can call it isolated or standing alone, or we'll have to look at the changed geopolitics of anti-globalization, post-Brexit, post-Trump world.
Thank you so much. Ambassador Parthasarathy and KC Singh for being with us. Last thoughts from all of you who are still with us on the panel, just 15 seconds each because I'm out of time.
So all I want to say is that look, what Modi has achieved outside India is the perception of India has changed from being way down. Now you can hold your head up high outside. Whatever he's done, I'm not interested, but right now they respect Indians all over the world. He's going in for job creation, he's reduced corruption, and as far as I'm concerned, he is the symbol of hope for this nation. Now, I think he's going to deliver, but we have a Prime Minister today who doesn't have any family members to worry about. He's going to go after corruption, and he is the one hope that is there, and I really think that he's going to deliver.
I think Modi and the BJP's rule is an extraordinary political phenomena that we are witnessing. Lots of things are changing in this country, but our soul as a nation will be destroyed if we approach Kashmir from a militaristic aspect, only from a security paradigm, and if we continue to ignore the violence that is emerging, a new violence from our society.
David, final quick thoughts.
I think the youth, the farmer and the soldiers have paid a very heavy price. Our priorities have to shift. We don't only have to look from the corporate world. We have to control the farmer's use side. On foreign policy, I know it has to be nimble enough, but this seems to be clueless. Our long-standing friends are closing up to China, whether it's Nepal, whether it's Sri Lanka. Right after Prime Minister visit, they are all there. So our foreign policy cannot be like a game of musical chairs. And as far as it's time the Modi government faces the reality, the jobless, the employment disaster is there. Okay. None other than President Pranab Mukherjee said, we have hit a 7-year low. Okay. So the government should wake up.
Nandan, final very quick thoughts for you.
I'll speak my own points, not counter any at the moment. I think what we've seen is, over 3 years, the first commitment was that I'll work as the Pradhan Sevak and I'm going to work relentlessly. That has continued. There is no change in that. The Prime Minister is
there's no dispute.
There's no dispute, but I'm saying it. So I'm looking at it. The second is, the government is clean, it's determined. It wants to change the manner in which the normal is. There is a new normal, as Mr. Jaitley says. Honesty is going to be up. You are going to go after those who are dishonest. You can't say, oh, now let's forget the past and, let's try to. Everyone who's got a sin either comes up and pays for that sin, or they are going to face it. So the compliance is there. The third part is this government is clearly, if you look at it, widening its reach, making it more efficient in delivery for whether the farmers, whether the women, whether the backwards, whether people in the rural areas, by linking technology and making that jump. So technology, that digital gap, is being used to change India. India is undergoing transformation. The final verdict will be in 2019.
Okay. India is undergoing transformation and the final verdict will be in 2019. I think that's a good way to sum it up. So that was essentially the report card. Keep telling us what you think. As always, there will be some things which the government needs more work on, but a lot of good work that has also been done. So you can keep sending us your own views of how you think the Modi government has actually done in these 3 years. This was The Big Fight. We'll be back next week. Bye for now.